Hey, what's up everybody? Jumping here, and today I'm going to be continuing my Borderlands 2 pre-release build videos where I take all the characters in the game and I make some builds with them using the Borderlands website, and I tell you some pretty cool strategies that I'm coming up with. But at the same time, I haven't played the game yet. You got to keep that in mind. I'm not 100% about any of this until I played the game and I can see it in action, then I'll know. But I do have some pretty awesome ideas. Alright, so today I'm going to be doing Salvador, who is the Gunzerker, who I think will probably be the most popular character in the game to start, especially day one, because he gets to dual wield, and that's just cool, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, I want to play the Gunzerker. So, yeah, I think he's going to be awesome. So, let's go ahead and get into this build right away. Now, the first thing is that he is a Gunzerker, so he gets Gunzerking. And like I said, what this does is that this lets you dual wield two guns, which is awesome. But besides that, it does do a lot of other stuff as well. The first thing that I notice that I love is the fact that when you use it, you're going to get 50% of your total health back right away. That's awesome. That can definitely save your life, so keep that in mind. The other thing it's going to do is give you damage reduction, which is great. It's also going to give you health regeneration, which is good, and ammo regeneration. So overall, this thing is freaking amazing. The Gunzerking is amazing. The only downside is that it does have a somewhat long cooldown, 42 seconds. And unlike the Commando, who also has a 42-second cooldown, the Commando can pick up his turret, and that will dramatically reduce his cooldown. The Gunzerker is not going to be able to do that, so you're going to have to sit through this 42-second cooldown, unfortunately. But that's the idea of my build, is that when I was making this guy, I wanted to keep that in mind, is that I think that people who are going to rely on the Gunzerking, I think that might be a mistake. I think that you need to make sure that your guy will be extremely good without Gunzerking, and also really, really good with the Gunzerking. So that is the point of my build. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I went for is Locked and Loaded. What this does is this gives you a plus 25% fire rate bonus after reloading your gun. So it's super easy to get. All it takes is a reload. And what's amazing about it is that fire rate is freaking incredible. Like, that is, when I played Borderlands 1, one thing I learned right away was fire rate bonuses are amazing, because that is more DPS. Faster you can shoot, the more damage you're going to do. So that is one of the greatest things about the Gunzerker, is the fire rate bonuses that he gets. Moving on, I have Quick Draw. Now, a lot of you guys out there might say, I don't know if that's going to be actually necessary, or if that's going to be good. And I would have to agree. I would have to say that, yeah, I don't know either. But for this particular build and strategy, I think this will come in handy. Now, I would not recommend getting this right away, though. I would wait. I would wait until a little later, come back to it, but it will be a part of the build. Alright, moving on, the next one's going to be All I Need Is One. What this does is that by swapping your gun, meaning pretty much changing your weapon, you're going to be able to get a plus 40% gun damage bonus, I believe, for one bullet, unfortunately. I think it's just the next shot. But overall, it's still really good because it's 40% gun damage bonus, and it's really easy to do. All it requires is you to change your gun. And that's one of the coolest things about the Gunzerker, is that he gets these cool bonuses for really easy things like switching your gun and reloading. So that is the thing. Now, moving on to the most important thing about the whole strategy. The most important skill is Money Shot. In my opinion, this is probably one of his best skills, if not his best skill. What this does is this allows his last round in a magazine, last bullet in the clip pretty much, to do a massive amount of damage, up to 400%. And the craziest part about it is that all it requires to get that massive bonus is a clip size of 10. So as you may know, all combat rifles for the most part, SMGs, repeaters, and a lot of shotguns will hopefully have more than 10 bullets in its clip if you go by Borderlands 1 standards. So you'll be able to get that 400% easily. So my strategy is that what I want to do with him is exploit the shit out of Money Shot. And the way you can do that is by simply just prior to a battle or after a battle, well, just take all your guns that you have, all 4 of them, and shoot them down to have really low ammo. I'm talking about 1 bullet, 2 bullet, and if you do that, next time you get into a battle, you would switch your gun for the 40% more damage. Then you would fire that last bullet at the enemy, and you would do a huge amount of damage to the enemy. And then, if he doesn't die, or if you've seen another enemy, you switch your gun again. By switching your gun, you're going to get the damage bonus. Then you shoot again, and you do this 4 times for each of your guns. And then once you're totally out of ammo and your money shot strategy is done, then you simply reload your gun for the fire rate bonus, and you Gunzerk. So Gunzerker becomes this bonus in this build. So if that strategy works, then Gunzerker is just the afterthought, really. It's just what you're going to use after you're done doing the initial strategy. And what's great about using Gunzerking like that is that if you're about to die, or that's how I want to use it. I want to be like, oh shit, I'm going to die, and then I'm like Gunzerking, and I'm back to life, and I'm back in the fight. So that is pretty much the point of the whole build, and the whole build is reflected around that. Alright, so moving on, I have Lay Waste, which is a kill skill, so you have to get a kill. And what this does is that it gives you a plus 40% fire rate bonus and a plus 25% critical hit bonus damage. So really, the fire rate bonus is definitely going to be great in the combination of the other fire rate bonus. It's going to be a total of 65%, and that's great for Gunzerking. But at the same time, the gun critical hit damage, that's also going to be great for money shot. So keep that in mind. Alright, so moving on, it's going to be Keepin' Pimpin'. And what this does, this is actually a really amazing skill, guys. And it's great for Salvador because he's the only one who gets one of these. What it does is that it gives you a plus 25% gun damage bonus, a plus 30% melee damage bonus, and a plus 25% grenade damage bonus simply by, it's a passive ability that you get when your Gunzerker is in cooldown. So that's amazing, honestly, because once this is in cooldown for 42 seconds, well, you're going to get like a pretty decent buff. Like, that is awesome. I wish everybody got something like this. But he's the only one who gets it, so I would not pass this up. This is amazing. And now the final one is by far the one that can potentially make him super overpowered with this whole money shot strategy. And what this is no kill like overkill. What this does, and this is crazy, is that any gun damage that you do, the whole idea is that if you kill an enemy, all that excess gun damage, meaning that let's say you hit a guy for 2,000 damage and it was only going to take you 500 damage to kill him. Well, that extra 1,500 damage will carry over to your next shot. So if you're doing the money shot strategy, where let's say you found a weaker enemy, you shoot him, you one-shot him with money shot, then you switch over, you're going to take that extra 1,500 damage into your next shot, then you're going to do your 400% with your second weapon, and it just is going to add up more damage, and then all that damage potentially, I don't know if this is how it's going to work, hopefully it is, all that damage is just going to go from enemy to enemy, and you can do this 4 times potentially, and that would be crazy. You're talking about potentially one-shotting huge enemies with the combination of this, and you could do it 4 times. So yeah, it's pretty insane. Like I said, hopefully that's how this strategy would work. I'm not 100%, but I do think that there is a good chance that that would actually work, and if it does, you're talking about the Gunzerker being absolutely incredible with that strategy. And of course, once you're done and you're totally out of it, boom, Gunzerk, and just start mowing motherfuckers down. Alright, now, Rampage here is his middle skill tree, and I do like Rampage. I like the Gunzerking buffs. He gets more duration, more cooldown, even more duration, and his last one is really good, which is more fire rate. But unfortunately, I just think that in this particular build with the money shot strategy, you can go for that stuff if you want. But I think that Gunzerking is going to be more of an afterthought. It's just a bonus. It's incredible, don't get me wrong. But the money shot is what's going to get you, a ton of kills. And then once you go into the Gunzerking, if you're playing with like a squad, more than likely all the enemies are going to be dead by the initial cooldown. Or not the initial cooldown, but the initial duration, which is, I believe, 20 seconds. So I just don't really know if I see the point of like extending the duration and the cooldown and stuff, where I just think it's more practical for myself to be harder to kill, which is the next skill, which will give you plus 20% more health and plus 0.5% more maximum health per second. It's a regeneration. And that's great, honestly. And then the next one is I'm the Juggernaut, and all it takes is by getting a kill, you get 20% damage reduction, which will definitely help you stay alive longer. And then the final one I really like is Out of Bubblegum. And what this does is that when you lose your shield, you're going to get a fire rate bonus. And as long as you don't have shields, you'll keep it. So it's a plus 28% fire rate bonus. And it can go up to 35% if you can get this to 5. So overall, I think that this is actually really good as well. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed my Gunzerker build, like I said, and my whole money shot strategy. Hopefully it works. Not 100%, but I do hope it works. If you like this video, please give me a like. And if you want to watch any of my future Borderlands 2 gameplays / I will be trying this. I will be doing a lot of crazy stuff. Please subscribe. That would be awesome. I would really appreciate that. But besides that, guys, have a nice day.